What is up, everybody? Welcome back to this channel. Today we are going to review a film about a legendary queen with all of you queens out there, and this queen included. Yes, the queen that I am referring to is none other than Freddie Mercury, and the film that I am talking about is Bohemian Rhapsody, which is another film that I have been looking forward to ever since seeing the trailer. First of all, I'd like to just welcome any new subscribers. I know I've gained like 20 new subscribers since starting this channel, so thank you all. Welcome aboard. I hope that you're enjoying these reviews. I appreciate all the supports, all the clicks, all the likes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yes, today we are going to talk about a film called Bohemian Rhapsody, about one of the most legendary bands on the face of the planet, Queen, with one of the most legendary frontmen ever, pretty much, Freddie Mercury. And I'll preface this with saying that I am not like a massive fan of Queen. Like, I love their songs and I love Freddie Mercury now even more after watching this movie, but I'm not like an expert by any means about their life story or Freddie Mercury's life story. So this is just from me watching this movie, learning things that I'm hoping are true about the people that they're trying to portray. And I had a little bit of hesitation before going to see this movie because I heard a lot of criticism. I think it only has like a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, which is still positive, but it's very leaning towards rotten. So I was like, God, I don't know how to take this movie, but I am happy to say that I actually thoroughly enjoyed this movie for what it is. I left this movie wanting to know more about every single member of this group, and I really felt like all the performances were really great, and especially Rami Malek, this guy. I mean, I've known about him in like shows like Mr. Robot, and I've seen him in like other little movies and stuff, but like, man, he embodied this character. It was like watching Freddie Mercury like risen from the grave to deliver this performance. Like, it was just crazy how good it was. I mean, he might be an Oscar contender. I know that I was saying that I think that Bradley Cooper might win Best Actor, but really, this type of performance, it deserves some type of recognition, and I wouldn't be that mad if he won it over Bradley Cooper from A Star Is Born, honestly. And I heard that there were some kind of arguments going on behind the scenes with the band and with the makers of this movie about whether they wanted it to be about all members of the group or just Freddie Mercury. But I really enjoyed it being more based on Freddie Mercury because I think he's the more interesting one out of the group. I don't mean that to say that the other ones aren't like talented or have interesting stories, but I think the way that they portrayed him in this movie, he's just so flamboyant and over the top and so fun and different that obviously they had to kind of single out one character to kind of focus on and how that character affects the band. And I think that back and forth dynamic was really excellent for this film. And as far as the music goes, I mean, these are already very well-known songs. There's nothing really like new for this movie, but I'd really be interested to know how they filmed some of the concert scenes. And I know that I already said that like A Star Is Born has some of the greatest concert scenes like ever put to film, basically, and I still believe that, but like this one definitely rivals it. Like the Live Aid performance that they do towards the end is just like awesome. You just feel like you're at a concert. I went to go see it in IMAX and I was like tapping my feet with all the jams. It was really great. Definitely, if you're gonna go see this, go see it in, like, if you don't have an IMAX, just see it in one that has like the best sound system that you can possibly get, because it's worth it. You feel like you're really watching the original Queen together on stage. It was awesome. And I'd also like to know whether Rami Malek was, in some parts it's definitely noticeable that like he's doing just like kind of like a dubbed version of Freddie Mercury's actual voice to do singing, but then there's some where he's just seems very raw sitting at the piano, and it seems like his actual voice. So I'd like to know if he really actually did some singing for this, because if so, like, he really knocked that out of the park too. I mean, this guy was just, like I said, like, he was Freddie Mercury. And the thing I was most worried about going into this movie was I heard some things like just around the internet that they pretty much straight washed him, in essence, like brushing over the fact that he was a gay man and he was very promiscuous at the time because he is a rock star, and he was also heavily into drugs, and, you know, he ended up coming down with AIDS, and it kind of just sounded like maybe they brushed over a lot of that or glazed over it just to put more of like the music and all that, and that would have been really unfortunate. But honestly, I thought this movie did a really fantastic job for like a mainstream film at tackling some of those subjects. I mean, obviously, since they're trying to reach a wide audience, they can't like show him like having orgies and like snorting coke off prostitutes and that kind of thing. Like, you know, they have to keep it to where it's, you know, engaging for everybody and it's not going to like drive some people away. But they definitely don't stray away from his gay lifestyle, like, at all. Like, they do show him that he's married to a woman, which I really loved. I thought that he had this sort of lifelong friend in this woman that he ended up marrying, but along the way he discovered his true identity, and her as a friend ended up, you know, helping him with that. And there were scenes of, you know, him kissing other men and showing him at gay bars and that kind of stuff. So it's not like they like, I don't get the whole like they straight washed him. Like, I don't know. I think it's a really weird criticism for the movie. And like some people have said, like, you know, I know that there are people that are like, oh, well, you know, it's not the only thing about him that he's gay, but it was a big portion of his identity, of his very like fabulous over the top lifestyle, and the fact that he, you know, was promiscuous around the time that, you know, AIDS was coming up, and unfortunately, you know, he ended up contracting that. And I think so that it was a huge part of his identity, it was a huge part of his life, but I don't feel like they completely like brushed it under the rug. I felt like they did just the right amount of it for this kind of film. And I think his drug use was done kind of subtly. I mean, they didn't show him being like a complete like addict, but they did show him when he was going through depression that he did have like, you know, coke laying around and alcohol and that kind of stuff. So I mean, I feel like they did that perfectly fine. And then I also heard that some complaints that he was that they kind of like brushed over his identity as like an East Indian Parsi, and I mean, they kind of explain all that within the first 30 minutes. I mean, you meet his parents and all that comes out about his heritage, so I didn't really know that about him, so I found that interesting. So I don't really get the complaints with that. I don't know, like identity politics is starting to become a little too much. I feel like people are reading like too much into everything like that. And listen, I get it, you know, as a gay man, like I get that representation in mainstream films is important, and I feel like this was, for what it is, it's a fantastic amount of representation for the gay community to show that this legendary man that made all this fantastic music was also a gay man that was struggling with the issues of the time. So I mean, I just don't get all the complaints where people are just looking far too much or wanting far too much too quickly for their identity to be, you know, spoken of in film. And I know that there are some people that thought maybe like the AIDS part of it was a little rushed, and it did kind of come about sort of quickly towards the end, but I felt like it was emotionally charged enough to where when you see the final performance that all comes back to mind, and you end up appreciating what they did with that for the time slot that they have. So I mean, I didn't have an issue with that either. I mean, this movie really is, honestly, it's got good humor. I mean, it's very engaging and interesting. The music is fantastic, the cinematography is fantastic, the sound is fantastic. Like, I don't know, I thought it was a solid film for what it is. Do I think it's like the most like perfect biopic ever made? No, but that's also not like my favorite subgenre of movies, and for what it is definitely one of the best times I've had at the movies this year. I mean, one of the best times, not like the best time, but like it's a great movie and you should definitely go and see it. So what would I give this movie for a rating? I'm gonna go a solid 4 out of 5 stars for Bohemian Rhapsody. Yes, I do think that you guys should go see this movie. I'll probably buy it. It's a really good. We've had now like 2 great musical films this year. We've had A Star Is Born and now we have this. Like, and again, like the criticism, I feel like the audiences are gonna like it more than some of the critics. I don't know if they maybe just know more about Queen and they didn't like some aspects of the way it portrayed songs being made or stuff that happened within the band. I don't know, but for me it was enjoyable as a mild fan, I guess, of Queen. Just remember, you guys, if you liked this review, please subscribe if you want to see more, and also like, comment, share with your friends if you really enjoy me. I would really appreciate it. I'm trying to get into this more and hopefully get myself out there, so it would mean a lot to me. Also, I know that I said that I was trying to work on like 13 horror movies to watch for Halloween in 2018. I ran a little late with that. I work a lot and I don't know, I always get into mood, so it's hard for me to like make videos all the time, but I might still do that video and just make it into like 13 horror movies to watch in 2018 in general. So yeah, and just look out for more videos from me. I'm trying to make more, be more enthusiastic about it. So please, again, subscribe, and stay fabulous, stay beautiful. I love you all. Bye.